white line. This top white line is the corpus callosum. I'll put my pointer in a part of it. That's corpus callosum. What's the function of the corpus callosum? It connects the the cerebral hemispheres. So that's the top white line. No, that's the
I got it.
You're not talking about the line above that.
Oh no, my pointer fell out.
Right.
And I'll send it to you.
It was the white line up top. Yeah.
Now
Okay.
you say it connects left and right hemisphere?
Exactly. And then you have a bottom white line. This is all white matter. The bottom white line, I'll try, it might not stay in here too well. Let's see. Okay, I'm in the bottom white line. That's the fornix. Fornix connects the cerebrum to the, what's below it? Diencephalon. Very good. So there's two white lines. They're white matter. Top one is corpus callosum. Bottom one is fornix. Between the two, not third, between the two is the lateral. This is lateral between the two white lines. So in between, if I put my pin in there, but here's the question. The question would say, what is this cavity? Exactly. If I say, what is this cavity?
That's the first and second.
But yes, but you need to say lateral. Don't write first and second though, because even though it's what it is, we don't call it that. Lateral ventricle, inside, that open space.
So you don't have to put first
In the
and
slit.
second, right?
Yes,
No,
lateral.
please don't put first and second. I won't. It'll be marked wrong. Okay, now, inside each ventricle, remember, we produce cerebrospinal fluid in the choroid plexus. I'm going to pull that out for you right now. You get your pin in there, pull it out, and it's this brown stuff right in the holes. Now, you'll see it in the lateral ventricles and hopefully your third ventricle. But sometimes the fourth ventricle is hard to see or gets ripped off. This is the choroid plexus, this brown stuff I pulled out of that space. Stringy brown stuff.
Comes out the lateral ventricle.
All ventricles.
Where's it go?
Good. Don't cut it yet. Leave it like that for a second. So he can't see the choroid plexus because he's saying it's fused together. What he's seeing, as I've already cut through, was the septum pellucidum. Can I see that real quick?
Coronal,
Thank you so much.
coronoid plexus.
All right. So I see there's a top and a white and a bottom white line. In between, you don't see the hole because that tissue is the septum pellucidum that's covering it. It's covering. So the only way you can actually see the ventricle is to cut through it. Now, if I wanted you to say septum pellucidum on the lab practical, I would need to make sure it was still there, like this. And what I would do is I'd put a pointer right in it, and I'd say, what is this structure? And it's always about what the pointer is in, not around it. What's the pointer in? That would have been septum pellucidum.
If it's closed like that.
If it's closed like
It
this.
would have been lateral.
Yeah, if it's open like this one's, it's gone. It's already been ripped open.
Right.
You cannot say septum pellucidum. It's gone.
And she's
So
gonna
yes,
say cavity.
it would be
Right.
what?
It'll be
Cavity.
Cavity.
And structure.
So when you're ready, what you're going to do on one side of your model, you might still have a septum pellucidum. When you're ready, you just poke in and bring it back, like a slit back. And it'll just open right up, and then it's going to look just like the open cavity. But I'll let you have the honors of that. Okay, now, we are done with the cerebrum. Now we're going to go below the fornix, the bottom white line, which, by the way, the two lines, I'll have a cavity. If I want to ask you corpus callosum or fornix, I will likely have them open because it's easier to see. If you have the septum pellucidum, it makes it more difficult. But like here, I can definitely see a top white line, a bottom white line. Corpus callosum top, fornix bottom. In between, cavity, lateral ventricle. If you go below the fornix, now we're getting to the diencephalon. The diencephalon is all this stuff. But you're going to need to be more specific. First, let's find the thalamus. The thalamus is going to look like a circle. I took my pointy probe and I actually made a circle so you could see what I mean. It's like one circle. I put my pin right in the middle. That is the thalamus. Now, in the sheep brain, you cannot see the intermediate mass, also known as the interthalamic adhesion. You're not going to be able to see that.
Yep.
I'm probably in it right now, but I can't tell. Therefore, if I want to ask you that, that would be plastic model, because that was that brown dot. That was obvious on the plastic. Okay, so there was thalamus. Now, once you know the thalamus, remember you go to the front and down. Okay, front and down, yes. So it's not going to even look like a thing. I put my pointer right in the middle. I'm right in the middle of the hypothalamus. Doesn't look like anything special. A little to the front, a little bit down. Hypothalamus.
That's in front of the
So remember your
mammary.
cerebellum, B for bellum back. Go front. Don't go back this way.
Right, this is it. Yeah, see it right
So
here.
that you can put your hand here.
You can see it's like a little circle too, right? Right?
Okay, hypothalamus, and that maintains homeostasis. Okay, now go to the back by getting closer to the cerebellum. Oh shoot, I ripped my arm.
See right here.
Reattach it. Well, you guys. No, the tectum is the top part of the midbrain here. You don't need to know that. Okay, there's the bump that we saw from the back. It's you might have cut through half of it. You might have cut through. Yeah, that's normal. So in either case, this is the penile.
Oh,
Pineal gland. Mine's falling off. Hopefully you can still see it. Pineal gland. In the back. This. It's right here. Oh, you can say penile body. You can call it penile body or penile gland. It's there. It doesn't matter. I always say penile gland, but I don't care. That one's interchangeable. Regulates what? Sleep-wake cycles. So our sheep stays up all night long. Alright. Okay, got that. And the mammillary body we already looked at. That was part of the diencephalon. That's why I'm mentioning it now. Remember that was the tab? Go underneath. You can see like a tab.
This one?
That's really white is optic chiasma. Yours isn't too clear. It's part of it was right here. Let me see. It's a little bit better on this side.
Okay, well,
This.
under the,
You see this knob right there? That pins in it.
shrink, right.
Yeah. That's mammillary body.
Where's the mammillary body?
That was the one we looked at underneath. Yeah, yep. Remember that was our 1, 2, 3. Optic chiasma, where the infundibulum comes out, and then mammillary body. Is it round here?
1, 2, 3. Optic tract.
Yep, exactly.
Optic
So that's also best seen if it's intact. Exactly.
So you would
Yeah.
have that on a whole.
Yeah, that would be much better because then it's more obvious. Because if you might cut through the middle. I'd rather have, in my case, I cut off to the side so you can actually still see it, the whole thing. But yeah, that would be better. The whole thing right there. I can mark it.
Optic nerve. We have optic nerves too, right?
Yeah, optic nerve. Sorry, optic nerve
That.
comes out from
Now we are ready for
Understand.
the midbrain. So for the midbrain, it is right below the thalamus, the circle, and then to the bump of the pons. And basically it's where the colliculi is, where the big bump is. That big back bump is the superior colliculi. So it's this whole area. Let me just put my pointer into the areas of the brainstem in general. Right here, so you can see a different view. That part is the midbrain, which is going to have the big bump on the back, the superior colliculus. So that's midbrain. So you're almost right under the thalamus.
Right here.
Where's
See,
your,
it's almost right here. Midbrain.
yeah, right in front
Okay, like
of this
right
is
under the
midbrain, yeah,
thalamus.
right.
That has the colliculi on it.
Colliculi. Yeah.
Let's
Superior.
identify
No, it was
the colliculi on the midbrain. So obviously this huge bump,
superior.
yeah, whoops, that is definitely the superior. The inferior is a lot more difficult to see from this view because it's so small.
You can see mine. It's very clear here. Superior.
Oh, that's a nice view. That's actually quite nice. You can see the difference from the side.
That's superior.
So I'm in superior,
See the color different.
yeah, it's in different color. And then inferior,
Superior.
yeah, it's on the bottom.
Superior.
She has a nice,
Inferior. Right.
how she cut it. Can I see it? Show them. She has a nice distinction. I don't know if you can see between the top and then you see the bottom. It's actually quite nice how that came out. The top and then the bottom looks like a more white line. Yeah. Yeah, some of our other stuff, you got crappy mammillary body, wasn't the best, but you had a good superior inferior colliculi. You never know what you're gonna get.
Right.
And honestly, when I'm looking at these, sometimes I'll look at this side, sometimes I have to look at this side for the best. You know? It just depends how it got
Do we need to
cut.
know what the mammillary body does?
No.
What
It
about
does
the,
have a
What
what is
does
it, the
it do?
midbrain?
What does it do?
Midbrain, just know it's full of white matter and contains all these together, the corpora quadremina, which you could also separate into the colliculi. Now the pons, now mine's starting to really fall apart here. Use this. I mean, this literally, you look for the bump in the side.
Right here.
It's just so tiny.
Do we need to know what that does?
Yes, you do, and I'll tell you in a, well, we can talk about it now. The pons, yes, and the medulla oblongata do work together for, yes, basic survival functions, which what I'm going to look for on your practical, and why I'm doing this, I'm going to put my marker in the medulla oblongata, okay? Medulla oblongata now. So the medulla oblongata and the pons both function in controlling centers of respiratory rate and heart rhythm, or you could say heart rate. That is correct, but I don't think it's in your lab manual, so I'm going to ask you to know it in lecture, but not in lab. So that's why I'm trying to make it more simple for lab. Just say medulla oblongata and the pons, centers for controlling respiratory rate and heart rate. Sure. Yeah.
What does the colliculi do?
Superior colliculi. What's that for? You did that right. Visual
Visual.
reflexes.
Auditory.
That's inferior.
Inferior is auditory.
The startle reflex. Inferior colliculi. When someone comes up behind you, and scares you, that's what was. If you got scared, it worked.
Right.
Yeah, there are some. Well, yeah, things and what else?
Peppermint.
Other citrus type scents and so forth, they can help to of that feeling more awake. And then there are also some scents that can help you feel more relaxed, like lavender and so forth. Let's talk about in lecture. What else? So I have hiccups and maybe scents. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to remember that because that's so we can do it in lecture. Okay. Oh. You know, I have to consciously try to, when I talk to you guys, not say, because I hated that when it's, so, but you have to think, like I have to think and try not to say things now, or even, you know, I try to just start with, but it doesn't always work.
Yes, you think.
It does not always work, yeah. So you just get what you get.
Yeah, I like to say, mm-hmm.
Oh my God, Lem, I go home, I still think of you sometimes. I swear to God I do.
That's not saying.
I go, oh, that Lem, he's so cute. I love it. I love it. It is, but I love it, and it actually brings a smile to my face. It's Lem.
Thank you.
I will. I'll probably never forget that. All right. Okay, now this area, put my marker in, is the fourth ventricle. It's right by the cerebellum. It's starting to fall off on me. It's if you pull it a little bit, you might notice it's a little bit indented.
Under the arm.
Yeah.
Triangular sign.
So fourth
Right here.
ventricle,
Is it behind the pons?
Exactly, behind the pons.
Same
is the
section.
cerebellum.
Yeah.
The triangular stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the front.
Oh, okay.
Now there's a cerebral aqueduct. If you kind of look, you might be able to see a bit of the groove. You pull at the cerebellum a little bit, but don't worry about that. The cerebral aqueduct is better seen on the plastic model. It's a little too difficult here, but we might say, of course, if there's a pointer here and it says what cavity is this, I mean, there's nothing else you could possibly mistake it with besides fourth ventricle. Did I do third? Okay, I forgot third. Third is right below the fornix and right above the thalamus. Below the fornix and above the thalamus.
You said behind the pons.
Honestly, in each sheep you have, it's going to appear a little, like the one I have right now.
It's between like the pons and the medulla oblongata. But it's that triangle, right?
Because actually, mine is even.
It's kind of to the bottom of it, kind of
You
to
might
the
go
bottom of it.
closer. Yeah. I mean, we say that, but it could be pons and between pons, medulla oblongata, and the cerebellum. Because each sheep is going to be a little bit different. Yeah, you got to get that little crook. Like the little.
Yeah, it would be over there. Okay, I thought
Yeah, what are you looking for? The fourth ventricle. Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, right there. Show him that. If you pull back the cerebellum, you might see the like a groove. No, that's cerebral aqueduct. It's just that one spot. Yeah, that's it. Fourth ventricle. And then in the cerebellum, all this white stuff. Yes, arbor vitae. Yeah. So this is just white matter. It's just like white matter of the cerebrum. It doesn't have a more, a distinct function from the cerebellum. It's just the myelinated axons in the cerebellum. So why I cut this, in order to actually see the white matter in the cerebrum, you have to cut it differently. Because all you're seeing here really is cortex, that's brown, gray matter. So if you cut it differently, like I did, now, do you see the outside gray?
Yes.
And then the inside is really white? And if you notice, that outside gray is the cerebral cortex, that's quite thin. It's quite thin, yet it's very important for you being aware that you are in this class right now. And not out in outer space somewhere. Or in a deep sleep.
So what happens when we daydream? Because sometimes when you daydream, it's like you're in one place, but then you're daydreaming.
Oh yeah, you're kind of spacing out.
Like right now.
I don't know, I've never done it.
Lack of cells in the hypothalamus.
Narcolepsy, that's going to sleep.
I don't know.
Head, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't know. I need to investigate those. I need to investigate. Maybe I'll have some better things when we do more brain. Just remind me when we're in lecture, and I'll make sure that we look it up. Maybe we can even do it right there if I don't do it beforehand. Okay. Any questions? I think we got it. Exactly, but I'm not going to ask you it on the sheet brain. But you are exactly on it. Yeah, it's kind of, looks like a groove. A groove. Oh wait, I want to tell you something. That's kind of cool. I'm sorry.
That covers it. That's what
You know where your spinal cord is?
Behind it.
This isn't a lab thing, but I think it's kind of cool. Oh wait, did I already tell you about it?
No, what was that?
We should have did it when it was still together.
Well, let's get it deeper.
I'm out. I would, but I'm out. I don't have any more. Yours
Here's a good one. It's close together.
I'm not here.
Well, you might be able to even see it if you put it back together. I should have told you. And sometimes if you don't have a good view, if you cut, do you remember the spinal cord model where
That's
you could
what
see?
I wanted to ask. Yeah.
Yeah, you could see the outside was white and the inside looked like a little gray butterfly. You might see that in your spinal cord if you put it together. It's kind of
You see the
cool.
gray matter in the white
Exactly
line?
what I wanted to ask.
Yeah, and you might be able to actually make out the gray. It looks like the butterfly. And of course, in the center was that central canal.
Right.
Oh, cut them together.
Kind of neat.
Cut 'em
if you're
together.
able to
We
see
put it
it.
together.
So check it out. What does yours look like?
You ready?
Haha, you can see it.
Very,
I
very
can see it. You
faint.
can only see the big
Very faint, but I can see
big
the
stuff,
wing.
right? You can see the big stuff.
Mm-hmm.